Kinga Ince. I'm a media expert and the founder and CEO of mediaspace.global. And this is a great pleasure to welcome Tanya Chibb here with us because we are moving our members' daily videos to this live streaming format available on Mediaspace and LinkedIn. And I think it's going to be a very exciting new format to hear about experts in a short format speaking about challenges and opportunities from our members, like Tanya, who is part of the Leadership Club membership as an expert in AI governance and data privacy. Hi, Tanya. How are you?
Thank you, Kinga. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Tanya Chibb. I am an Indian qualified lawyer based in the Netherlands now, where I advise companies on all sorts of legal tech matters, as you mentioned, including privacy, data protection, and AI governance now. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 3 standard questions for every expert and leader. Question number 1. What do you think the key challenges are in this case in terms of data privacy in your field?
Thank you. So data privacy and media is actually quite a complex field at the moment, where there are quite a lot of navigating issues which kind of need addressing. So the first one, in my opinion, is the change in the user's perception of how they want their data to be handled. The user is also evolving, which I think is a change from the years in the past. With, of course, growing regulation, there has also been a lot of data breaches, and there has just been a lot of awareness around this issue. So their expectation from companies is also changing. The new consumer or the new upcoming users are not so okay with their data being handled just as how companies wish. They are now seeing themselves as the owners of their data, and they want certain practices and standards. They are demanding that from the companies. So that is a change. So trust, of course, has now become, because we have seen a lot of major companies misusing the way they have handled data in the past. Also now with how AI is trained. So the awareness is increasing, because of which the pressure on the companies to also be transparent, to be compliant, is also increasing. And in my view, that is also actually going to be a differentiator for companies who get this right. So if you manage to get your data practices and your compliance practices conveyed to the customer in a transparent manner where you gain their trust, I think that would be a win for the companies in the field. So that is number 1, the change in the users. Number 2 would be the constant state of flux of our regulations. With the GDPR, there have been a lot of influence in privacy regulations all over the world. We call it the Brussels effect. I think this year already there have been 7 new privacy regulations in the US. So that is constantly growing, and companies need to be compliant if you're offering services in those states and in all over the world. Actually, there has been an increase in the amount of privacy regulations. So you need to be aware and you need to be compliant of those. Plus, there are changes in, for example, with the GDPR constantly. The data privacy framework, which was something that was set up only very recently, is now again maybe up for discussion. Maybe it is going to be revoked because of the new administration in the US. So the trust in the framework is now again reduced. So if there are companies who are doing cross-border transfers of data, so sending EU data, for example, to the US, should be looking into what framework, what mechanism they are using to ensure that the data of European citizens remains protected in the US. So that is something that they need to be aware of, maybe think of a contingency plan, or just at least have some kind of a plan in case that is revoked. So there is constant flux in the regulations. So that is another challenge these days, especially in this field. The third challenge I can think of would be regarding ethical considerations, because there is a vast amount of data that is available these days for companies. There is a bit of a tension between business objectives and what should be done ethically. Just because you can do it, should you be doing it? And just because maybe it is profitable, do you want to still go down that route, especially in its profiling or targeted advertising? That is something to take into account. So ethically, we're also in a kind of interesting space where also I feel like companies can make a mark or a differentiator by taking maybe an ethical route and saying, okay, even though this might be a profitable venture, because of our values or because of the product we want to offer, this is not a route we're taking. So that's also another interesting challenge of how you want to balance ethics with business. And the fourth one would be security in general, because we know that as technology is becoming more and more complex, the attackers are also becoming more and more sophisticated. And as we're using AI, we're also and collecting and processing and storing a large amount of data, we are more at risk just because of the data we're collecting. It also involves a lot of cost. So cybersecurity and data security in general is a challenge which companies need to be on the top of to ensure that the data they're collecting is indeed safe and available and remains confidential as a duty towards their customers whose data is being processed.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand even from your list that the complexity of this space is just increasing. And obviously, for those who are not in the legal side, it's pretty comprehensive and I would say just challenging, especially just balancing, as you mentioned, the business and also data privacy and ethical perspectives. So my question is, leading to question 2, what do you see as key opportunities in this mess?
So the key opportunities would be to get all of these things right.
Okay.
To tackle the challenges well. No, but okay, more I would say more concretely to at least be transparent regarding your data practices, to gain the trust of the customer, especially in this state of flux, to differentiate yourself as a company which is privacy first or privacy by design. So to getting your compliance in place, to having transparent practices, to being able to share it with your customers in a way which makes sense to them. So it is also explainable, it is clear for them to understand, to really see them as maybe not as, to see them as humans actually behind the shield. And to treat them as you would want to treat yourself. I think there's a huge opportunity in paving the way for more privacy first practices in the space of marketing and media. It isn't A lot of companies are beginning to do it, but it's definitely not the norm. So it would be a very easy, not such a very easy win, but it would be an easy competitive differentiator if companies can get that right. If they can have transparent practices, if they have good compliance and privacy first approach.
Thank you. And the question, I'm not sure if you experience a double standard, which I just informally saw within my, I don't know, friends who are also media and marketing experts and leaders, that this double standard would be that we expect a lot from media companies, brands in terms of privacy, while don't expect as much from platforms, especially AI services. Is there such an existing phenomena, or this is just us?
Interesting observation. I think so, yes. I feel what your observation is on point. I feel that is also because of the maturity of the market regarding AI versus, of course, media and marketing. So, of course, they've been around a lot of time. We've understood the degree of harm that it can cause, where people are still more in the hype with AI. So it's still in the romantic phase, while the marriage with media and marketing is much longer. So now we see it for without the fluff around it. I think that's the difference. While with AI, we're still a bit more enamored, or people are a bit more enamored. So we're overlooking maybe the AI practices, not in my bubble, though in the privacy and AI governance space, we are maybe we are quite strict on them. But in general, I think the customers and users have not probably understood the degree of harm so far that it is causing. So there is more awareness and education, but I feel that's because the market is very young. I think in a few years that will also change, and as maybe it should, because the degree of harm can be quite high if we don't do it correctly.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you. And last but not least, what's your advice for 2025?
Advice as a privacy lawyer would be to integrate privacy by design in your product offerings, in your services, in your marketing. And the secret sauce, which I tell everybody, the way to organize that always is to have a team which is multidisciplinary. It is get them on a table. So get your product managers, get the ML engineers, get the marketing people, get the privacy people, the security specialists together at least a few times in your entire product lifecycle, if not more than that, to ensure that you've got risks covered from a more holistic purpose. Then having a siloed approach to working. Because often we do this, and then only when it's all done, we would go to the law or the security specialist and say, this is our offering, can you give it the green mark? And then it's often too late to make changes. So to get everybody on the table right from the beginning, to make sure that your product is more holistically at sound from a privacy and security risk standpoint, and also maybe get ethicists, so also to make sure. So that would be my advice.
I think it's absolutely pragmatic. What I experience practically as a consultant is exactly this, that where there are conversations in this multifunctional way that you are just suggesting, they are much more creative and more proactive in many approaches, and obviously that's more consumer oriented than working in silos. So thank you for pointing this out. And I would like to thank for your time and welcome you as the first who were interviewed in this Members Daily series. So thank you, Tanya, and see you soon.
Thank you, Kinga. Thank you. It was a pleasure. See you soon.